So we are Natalia Puente, Victoria Aguirre, Raquel Barbas, and me, Rodrigo Zarzalejos, and we're going to talk about Canada. So Canada is a country in North America, and it is consisted of 10 provinces and 3 territories. The 10 most important provinces are Alberta, Nova Scotia, Quebec, and Ontario. And then there are 3 territories, Nunavut, the Northwest Territories, and Yukon. And Canada is located right there. It has over 10 million square kilometers, being the world's second largest country in the world. And it has 35 million inhabitants living there, but considering the size of the territory and the people inhabiting and living in the country, it's a really low quantity. So it extends from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean, and at the north we find the Arctic Ocean. So the weather is really extreme. In winter it gets from -15 to -40 degrees, and in summer it's really cold, and in summer it's really warm. I mean, it's pretty warm because the weather is wet, so it gets from 25 to 30 degrees. So that's Canada in winter, and that's in summer. So there are 8 distinct forest regions. So there's lots of forests. There are lots of forests, and then there are lots of large lakes, almost 32,000. And there are also huge freshwater glaciers. Canada is geologically active, so it has many earthquakes and volcanoes active. And now Natalia Puente is going to talk about the government and politics and economy.
Very good pronunciation.
It's from Canada.
I would like to continue with the economic progress and the political and the national tension. So its economy is fundamentally exporting due to the tremendous natural resources, thermification of agricultural holdings, and the growing Finnish investment. So most of which is dedicated to the United States. But the value in Canada, the added value in Canada, is that they have managed all of that, to combine all of that with a specialist industry and the power of service sector, especially finance, in the finance. Politically, they have 2 big parties, the conservative and the liberals. The conservative and the liberals. They have been distributing the power since the configuration of the Canada and with the dominion of Canada. In 1982, Canada reached his own autonomy, and now we have to add the third party, NDP, and some parties of like Quebec, Parti Québécois and National Party. So the idea of a country has solid basis because of the Olympic Games, the development of its own foreign political, the increase of its economy, and the wealth of the population and the constitution. But the hardest part is the nationality. Overall in Quebec. Quebec is three times bigger than Spain and has 8 million inhabitants. The development of the, besides it's concentrated most part of the wealth creation of the country. So the last referendum in 1994 has 49.6% vote in favor. But nevertheless, Canada has found in the growth of the economy and the foreign politics the best instrument to the integration. Canada has a special bond with the countries of Anglo-Caribbean, and with them it has a specific commercial relationship called Carib-Can. and has been paying important attention also to the Pacific Coast, British Columbia, especially its capital, Vancouver. The crisis of the middle 70s has really affected the country even more. The crisis consolidates its power, and now with the crisis of the 2001, rebound of the economy collaterally and the subsequent recovery allowed Canada to reach and keep the highest growth index of the G19 countries. So now Victoria is going to speak about tourism in Canada.
Well, my name, you know, is Victoria Aguirre. I'm Victoria Aguirre, and I would like to introduce you about the 10 most popular tourist attractions in Canada. If you are planning to visit the great country of Canada, but have no idea how to get started, you should set your itinerary by including some of the most popular tourist attractions in the country, as measured by the number of visitors they receive each year. In this picture we can see some of the night views of Vancouver, and is one of the most representative buildings in the port. And next one, please. Mount Royal Park is the first attraction I recommend. Mount Royal Park is located at the highest point in the city of Montreal. Yes. Within the park, you'll find a ski trail, an oratory and Roman Catholic basilica, amongst many other attractions. The park, naming for the city itself, captures the attention of more than 3 million visitors each year. And Canada's Wonderland, Maple, Ontario. Canada's Wonderland is home to the largest wooden roller coaster in existence in Canada. That is a wooden one, and it's the largest one in the country, in Canada. Within the park, you'll find it's also the location of the only flying coaster, that one, in the country, and this one is called the Time Warp. More than 3.35 million people visit this incredibly fun theme park each year, and according to new sources, the park is still expanding. I mean, it's getting bigger and bigger. Banff National Park in Alberta. Banff National Park was the first national park established in Canada. The park consists of 2,500 acres of land in the Canadian Rockies and regularly attracts nature lovers to its glaciers and meadows. There are 2 towns within the park, Banff and Lake Louise. This is a picture of Lake Louise, and both are filled with galleries, museums and cultural attractions designed to occupy visitors and between treks into the wilderness. Approximately 3.3 million people visit the park to explore and to ski each year. In this picture, we can see the beautiful, the last one, the beautiful Lake Louise you saw before. And we can admire the great variety of animals we can find in this park, mainly because of the great meadows. As you can see, one can get astonished with the beauty of the aurora boreal, the freezing but charming Agus. The Forks, Winnipeg. The Fork is another incredible park found at the point where the Wet and the Assiniboine rivers come together. This is the place where this is the fork where they come together. And I mean, see, we can say well, the park has a lot of history, having once served as an aboriginal settlement and then later as a major fur trading stop. Today, the park draws more than 4 million annual visitors to skateboarding, park, plazas, and concerts. You can see these places there are quite of them, and you can find many fast food and many kind of items, many different items, and artists and everything. Exhibition Place Toronto. Exhibition Place is a large urban park spanning over 192 acres of land. The park sits on the shore of Lake Ontario and regularly hosts special shows like Exhibition Place, including the Canadian exhibition. The Canadian Bureau for the Advancement of Music calls Exhibition Place its home year-round and is proud to cater to the 5.2 million visitors who flock the park every year. The Port Montreal, the port, also known as Old Port, draws nearly 6 million visitors each year. The riverfront is completely separated from the nearby port of Montreal, but has its own distinct and attractive odor. During the summer months, there are circus shows and dances, while during the winter months, patrons stop by the sea. The Montreal Highlights Festival and fireworks shows. It's a lovely place indeed. Now, Stanley Park, Vancouver. The 1,000-acre Stanley Park lies within the city limits of Vancouver. Visitors come to walk amongst the cedars, hemlocks, and gardens to watch their children in the playgrounds, for example. There are even a few small restaurants, I haven't got any here, scattered within the park grounds. More than 8 million people stroll the park grounds on an annual basis. You can see, and it's incredible, the places, and it's incredible that this is within the city limit. All these things, and this is the oldest one. It's not a sequoia. I don't know. It's not a sequoia. It was a oh my God. No. Cedar, a big cedar, a not very big cedar. Yes, cedar. It's very good. Yes. That's one, yes. This is the same park. That's incredible, no? Within the city limits. And beautiful. Now the Granville Island, Vancouver. Granville Island was once a major epicenter for those working in the slaughterhouse or sawmilling industries. Over time, the island transformed, and for the past 30-odd years has drawn visitors to its steadily growing collection of artists, studios, galleries, theaters, restaurants, and artisan shops. The island receives more than 10.5 million visitors each year, and it is believed that only 29% of those visitors are British Columbia natives. This is the park as well. You can buy everything, the fresh food, fresh fish, everything, and many other items as well. Now the Harbourfront Centre, Toronto. The waterfront in Toronto consists of 10 acres of sheer beauty. This one, sorry, this one, Stanley Park, no, Granville, this one, sorry, Grand Harbour Centre. Okay, sorry about. Here you find an amazing ice skating rink. It was in the one before. Well, it was supposed to be this one. A skating rink, a large boardwalk. Boardwalk of great ships and display. One ship, the 1812 war privateer of the North Atlantic, allows visitors to come on board and look around. This one. It is. Approximately 12 million people visit this waterfront of Toronto annually. And finally, of course, the Niagara Falls, Ontario. The falls in the city of Niagara Falls in Ontario estimate that Niagara Falls receive more than 12 million visitors every single year. That's right. We really weren't surprised to find that it's such a popular attraction. It's one of the most famous in the United States as well. What we don't do is attempt to determine which side, Canada or the US, gets more visitors. Now, this building is a Niagara Casino Resort, and there are beautiful night fireworks view, and some other pictures of the city and the falls on the city background. This is the city, the sunset, and the city, the fall with the city background, and yeah, this is cool, this one, because it's called the Spanish air car over the whirlpool in the Gulls, and I don't know why.
I know why.
Oh,
Because it was an engineer, a Spanish engineer, who built it, who designed the, how do you say it's called?
It's called,
Well, it's made the first with a catenaria, I don't know how to say it.
Spanish aerocar. Spanish aerocar.
Well, it's a catenaria and it was really new for its age. It's like innovation. And it was from a Spanish engineer.
Thank you.
Now we know why. So hopefully you'll get to visit at least a few of these great attractions during your Canadian vacation. If not, you just have to make another visit or a second trip. Thank you. Now Raquel is going to talk about the Canadian sport.
Okay.
Okay, there are many sports in which Canadians are good at. Ice hockey, lacrosse, basketball, soccer, curling, or baseball. Ice hockey and lacrosse being professional sports. Since founding, Canadian sports was lacrosse, but in 1994, the government established ice hockey as Canadians' national sport. But the lacrosse fans said that this can be true because lacrosse is the only native contribution. So finally, the government recognized hockey and lacrosse like nation sports of summer and winter, respectively. As a country with generally cool climates, Canada has enjoyed better success in Winter Olympics than in Summer Olympics. Ice hockey. The modern form of ice hockey started in the late 9th century here in Canada. It is considered as Canada's national pastime with high levels of participation. This makes this sport the most successful in international competitions. Also, the Stanley Cup is a premier trophy in professional ice hockey and was originated in Canada in 1893. The First Nation, as I said before, began playing lacrosse, this sport. It consists in brackets with a bag that you have to catch the ball and just throw it. It's a very simple game. Lacrosse has survived the test of time and now is, as I said, official sport in Canada. Curling, you might think that curling is a really boring game, but actually in Canada they love it. They love it. The province that they most love is the Prairie provinces like Alberta or Manitoba that Rodrigo previously introduced. Canada has competed in every Olympic game except for the first ones in 1896 and the boycotted games in the the 1980s. Canada also has hosted 3 times games in 1976 in Montreal, in the 88 in Calgary, and finally in the 2010 in Vancouver. Alberta, Canada is usually one of the top nations in terms of medal won. Canada is traditionally good at ice hockey, curling, speed, and figure skating. Also in curling, Canadian men and women have reached more medals than any other country. In this year Olympic Games, Canada has reached 10 gold medals, 10 silver medals, and 5 bronze medals, being the 3rd country in the global classification. So I think they do pretty well in the Olympic Games. Now Rodrigo is going to finish with talking about food.
So Canada has lots of cultures, and because it was colonized by lots of civilizations, so it has its food. I mean, the food has English, Scottish, and French roots, and the Aboriginal peoples also made and they also made an effort. I mean, they also introduced some food like the maple syrup, and well, mostly natural food. And then there are only 3 national foods because Canada doesn't really have a huge culture, and it's a pretty new country. So one of the national food is called poutine, and it's a mixture of French fries, cheese, and gravy. And then the other one, it's a maple tart that is made of maple syrup, sugar, flour, and it's basically like a dessert. And then it's called craft dinner, and it's basically fast food. It's macaroni and cheese. And so the extra official national food would be the maple syrup, because they are the world's biggest exporter of maple syrup. So what they do is they tap a tree, and then they take the liquid, the syrup from the tree, and they can get liters, and then they boil it for hours until it gets sweet, and then it's ready to sell. Okay, and now we're going to listen to the Canadian national anthem.
This item is played in every school every day. So if you stay there studying, you will learn it. I learned it when I was studying.
Okay, can you find it? Or no? Oh, don't worry. Okay.
Okay, so that's everything. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I hope that you can get to travel to Canada someday. And now Manuel is going to talk about the Seychelles Island.